Okay. Welcome, everyone. Boy, people are very slow to arrive tonight, boy.
They don't want to get locked up with me, that's why.
Okay, so we're holding on the bottom line of Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis. The bottom line of Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis. Boy Rav Beivoi bar Abaya. Rav Beivoi bar Abaya said, we said, Veishit Nikuvasai b'mashu. We said the food pipe, a hole, makes it a treifa in the minutest amount. Drusasai b'mashu. We also, a clawing of a mashu is also a problem. Kana Nikuvasai b'ki'isr. The windpipe, the trachea, its hole is the size of an isser talki. Drusasai bekama. How much is it a problem if it's clawed, let's say, by a wolf? So says the Gemara, Basa debai hada pashta. After we asked, we resolved it. Basa debai hada pashta. Both are with the minutest amount. Why? Both, in other words, both the food pipe and the windpipe is with a mashu. My timer, zihara, because the poison mikla kali va'azal continues to burn through. Yosef Reb Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta kami to Reb Nachman. Reb Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta sat before Reb Nachman, the Yosef v'ka'amar, and he was sitting and saying, Drusa she'amru, when an animal is clawed, so we said that it needs to be checked. So where do you have to check? Tzricha bedika keneged b'nei ma'ayin. It has to be checked along the entire digestive area, the four stomachs, the intestines. So the Gemara tells us, let's get the right goose over here. Amalei Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman said, Ha'elikim, by God, Moiri Barav, Rav Paskind, that it's a bigger area than that. Rav Paskin mikapa, from the spoon, v'ad atma, until the thigh. So the Gemara says, my kappa, ilai mikapa diyada, if it means the spoon of the foreleg. So from the foreleg to the thigh, that's the entire digestive system. Hainu keneged b'nei ma'ayin. Now, Rav holds elamikapa demoicha ad atma. It has to be from the spoon of the brain, all the way from the head until the thigh. Kisalak Reb Chia bar Yosef, when Reb Chia bar Yosef went up to Eretz Yisrael, Ashkechinu le Reb Yochanan v'Reish Lakish, he found Reb Yochanan Reish Lakish, the Yosevei b'Kamrei, they were sitting and saying, Drusa she'amru, an animal that's clawed, tzricha bedika keneged b'nei mayim. You need the bedika in the meat along the full area of the intestines. Amalahu, so Reb Chia bar Yosef said to them, Ha'elikim, by God, Moiri Barav, Rav Paskin, that it's a wider area. Mikapa va'ad atma, from the spoon of the brain until the thigh. Well, it's a very interesting Gemara. It seems to be that Reish Lakish was not yet familiar with Rav. Now, the fact that they called him with such an honorific, his name was Abaricha. They called him Rav. That's like a title like Rebbe. So Amalei Reish Lakish, Manu Rav, Manu Rav. Who is this person that you're giving such an honorific Rav? V'lo yadanalei, I don't know him. So Reb Yochanan says, you don't remember Rav. Reb Yochanan v'lo nehiralei, you don't remember. L'oiseh Talmud, to that very special Talmud. You know, they used to say in yeshiva, BMC. Big man on campus, you know. That was a title that they had, BMC. So Who's making all that noise? Okay. So you don't remember that Talmud? Sheshimish as Rebbe Rabbah, the great Rebbe Yehuda Anasi, and Reb Chia, v'elikim by God, kol oisan shanim sheshimis oisay Talmud b'yeshiva. When, as long as he learned in yeshiva, now the real chashuv bachrim got to sit. The other bachrim stood. Ani shimashti b'amida, I stood. Kol oisan shanim sheshimis oisay Talmud b'yeshiva, Rav sat. And Ani shimashti b'amida, he also said later on that he was 17 rows behind him. Uman Govar, what are you telling me about the strength of this person? What was his strength? So the Gemara says, Hu Govar Bekula. He's strong in all areas. Rashi says, both in learning and in Chasidus. B'Torah b'Chasidus. In other words, he added everything. He was in Torah and in piety. So now Reish Lakish remembered. Miyad pasuk Reish Lakish v'amar Bram, in truth, Zachar Oisa Ish L'Tayv. I remember now this man for the good. She'amru Shmuel b'Piv, they said an important teaching from his mouth. Shmuta u'shchuta. If an animal was found to be slaughtered and the pipe was found to be dislodged, Ksheira, because it wouldn't have been able to be shchuta if it was dislodged, because you wouldn't have been able to cut it in place. She'i afshir l'shmuta, it's impossible that if it's dislodged, shetiasa shchuta. Rabbi Yochanan says if you find it dislodged and shechted, and you want to know if it happened before or after, Yavi v'Yakov, make another cut and compare them. Now Rab Nachman says, that which Rav says that you can't shecht if it's dislodged, that's only if the sheikhet is not holding the simanim. Rav Nachman lo shanu el shaloi tafas b'simanim. Aval tafas b'simanim, but if the sheikhet is holding the simanim, v'shachad efshel l'shmuta shetiasa shchuta, because he's holding it in place. So then it would be possible to shecht when it's dislodged. Now the Mishnah says, Zaklal, any animal that can't live is a treifa. So the Gemara says, I wonder what happened to Berish. He was here, his Gemara is here. So the Gemara says, Zaklal la'asiyeh mai. La'asiyeh shev shmaitza shev shmaitza. The 7 halachas. If you remember, we said on Daf Mem Beis that there are 7 other treifas that are not mentioned in the Mishnah. One is a diseased kidney, and one is a perforated spleen. There were 7 cases. So that's what the Zaklal comes to include, those 7 cases. The Bei Yosef Rizba, the Bei Yosef was a hunter, and he used to machu begida nashya. He used to hit the animal on the sciatic nerve, and sometimes it cut like, sometimes it would die. Also, Kamed Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. So it came before Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira and says if it gets hit on the sciatic nerve, is that a treifa? So he said, you want to add to the list? We don't add to the list, you know. It's like we tell people, don't make your own chumras. We only have the list that the Chacham gave us. Similarly, Rapapa Ba'aba Rishba, Rapapa Ba'aba Hunter, Machu Bekulya, he hit it on the kidneys and sometimes the cutlay. Also, the Kamid Rababa, it came before Rababa. Is it a treifa? Because you see, sometimes I hit it in the kidney and it dies. Amalu v'chila ha'isiv ala treifus yesh. You want to add to the list? Ein lach elamash imanu chacham. Says the Gemara, I but v'chachazin in the kamesa. We see that when you hit it on the sciatic nerve and you hit it on the kidneys, it dies. So why isn't it a treifa? Gemire di badri lo samachaya. If we would apply medicine, it would live. So anything that would apply, if you apply medicine, it could live. That's not included as a treifa. Now, fasten your seatbelts because there's a wondrous chiddush in our Mishnah. This is a Mishnah that the Svarim throughout the ages, try to figure out. The Mishnah says that an animal could live without kidneys. It's a really remarkable thing. Now, the following are kosher by an animal. Nikva gagaris, if the trachea is only perforated. Oishinistika, or if it was split but there was meat at either end. In other words, it was split along the length, but there was meat at either end.
What was that? What does it mean? Why? If it's split, but it's meat at the end.
Because if it's split along the width, then it widens. But if it's slit along the length, it's okay. Now, ad kama techser, we said that the trachea is no good if there's a certain amount missing. How much has to be missing? And it still is kosher. Reb Shimon Gamliel Aimer ad ki isra italki. If it's only an isra italki, an Italian isra, it's still good. Nifchas ha'gulgalus, if the skull is open, v'lo nikav krum shel mayach, but the sac of the brain was not perforated. Nikav alev, if the heart was perforated, v'lo lebeis chalala, but it didn't reach to the inner chamber, into the right or the left ventricle. Nishba hashedra, if the spine was broken, v'lo nifsar achut shela, but the spinal cord was not severed. Nitla akavit, if the liver was removed, v'shtayre emena kazayis, but there was left a kazayis. Hemsas ubeis hakaisis, that's the third stomach and the second stomach, which opens up one into the other. The second stomach opens up into the third stomach. Shenit zelos, if they're perforated one into the other, that's okay, because the food goes anyway one into the other. Nital atchol, if the spleen was removed, it's interesting. A punctured spleen is worse than a removed spleen. If the spleen is removed, that's good. Nitlu aklois. Now this is a wonder. How can an animal live without both kidneys? It says nitlu aklois. If it's one kidney, okay, but it says nitlu aklois, that both kidneys are removed. If you look over here in the art scroll, note 41, the art scroll brings down from Ma'or L'Masechtas Chulin that animals like cows, sheep, and goats, they could survive even with the loss of the kidney function. Very big chiddush, a huge chiddush. Marshall's never going to be the same after hearing this. Oh, I see Berish is here. Okay, Berish, I was worried about you. I didn't know what happened to you. Nita lechi atachton, if the lower jaw is removed and the trachea and the food pipe is still attached to the flesh underneath, nitlo ha'im shela, or the womb was removed, animal had a hysterectomy, v'charusa b'dei shemayim, or if the animal lungs shriveled from something like thunder, all of these animals are kosher. Hagluda, if the hide was flayed, Reb Meir machshir, Reb Meir holds it's kosher, v'chachamim poisel. So now the Gemara addresses a stira in the first Mishnah and in this Mishnah. The first Mishnah says Elu Treifus, implying that everything else is kosher. Here it says Elu Ksheris, implying that everything else is treifa. So it's a stira in implications. Baruch Ian cannot stand when that happens. No, he needs to have consistency over here, you know. Says the Gemara, Itmar, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Elu Treifus Dafka. Now, Elu Treifus, but everything else is kosher. And it says Elu Ksheris, ID the Elu Treifus. Reb Shimon Lakish Amar, Elu Ksheris Dafka, but everything else is treifa. And it says Elu Treifus, ID the Elu Ksheris. So, b'makom, what case are they arguing about? So the Gemara says, B'di Rav Masna. The Amar Rav Masna, I buka da'atma, the ball of the thigh, the shaf meduchte that slips from its place is treifa. So this is the question: if Elu Ksheris comes to say that this case is a treifa, or Elu Treifus comes to say this case is kosher. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Elu Treifus Dafka, but the case of the Buka Da'atma is kosher. Tana Treifus, Elu Treifus, but Tana Zaklal. It also says the inclusion of Zaklal, anything else. B'chazil Rav Masya Da'asya B'Zaklal. And the Gemara says that they thought that you should include Rav Masna's case in the Bizarre Klal. My timer, the Damyal in the Tule, it's like a case of something being removed because it was removed from its place. So Tana Elu Treifus, only these are treifas. Hanihu de treifa, Had Rav Masna, if the ball slipped from its place, ksheir. Reb Shimon ben Lakish to the contrary. Elu ksheris dafka. These are kosher, but everything else is treif. B'tana treifus, it says treifus. B'tana ze'aklal. And the Gemara thought to say that Rav Masna's case is not to be included in the ze'aklal. My time. It doesn't seem to fit into any of the categories. Lavna nekuve, it's not a perforation, damya. V'loylev suke damya, it's not a severance. Ulenetule namiloy damya, it's not removed because it just slipped from its face. Therefore, tana elu ksheris haniu de ksheris, only these are kosher. Hadra masna treifa. So now the Gemara says, let's analyze Rav Masna's din again. Go for Amar Rav Masna, hai buka da atma, the ball of the thigh, the shaf miduchte, that slipped from its place, treifa. The Rava Amar ksheira. Rava says it's kosher. But now, next to the ball, there are also sinews. They're called nive. The ifsik nive, if the sinews over there by the thigh are cut, then everybody holds its treifa. However, that's not the halacha. V'hilchasa ifsik nami ksheira, even if the sinews are cut, it's kosher. Adimis akles chulei. Unless the sinews are entirely decayed, then it's a treifa. Now we said, how much does there have to be missing in the kana, and it still could be kosher, until an iser talpi. Now, not everybody is what's it called? A numismatist? What is it? What is a coin collector?
Well, that's wrong.
What?
Numismatist.
Numismatist. That's what I said. Numismatist. So not everybody is a numismatist, a coin collector. Right? Not everybody knows what an Italian Isser is. It says the Gemara, Amr Ziri Atan Deloy Mischame L'chain, you who never saw an Italian Isser, L'chain Shiura, Shiure Bedinra Keduna. You should know it's the size of a dinner keduna. That they knew. V'ave kipshita zutrasi, it's like one of the small coins. Umishtaka b'nei pshute de Pumpadisa, and you could find it amongst the coins of Pumpadisa. Amar Rabbi Chana Pesora, Rabbi Chana, a money changer, related that Eloi Minoi Havikoi Bar Nafcha. Once I found standing above me Rabbi Yochanan Bar Nafcha. Ubay Minei Dinrat Kurdina, and he wanted for me a Kurdanian dinner, L'Share Bei Treifta, to measure a treifa in the corner. Now I wanted to stand up. I wanted to stand up. Now if I stood up, it would interrupt my work. And I was an employee. V'lo shavkane, he didn't let me stand up. Amali shev b'ni shev, sit. Ein bali umnias, people that are working, they're not rasha and lama, if they tell me chacham, they're not allowed to break from their work to stand up before Talmidei Chacham. B'shah she'asukim b'malachta. It's a good riddle. When don't you stand up for a Talmid Chacham? Not often that you don't stand up, but if you're working for somebody, that, by the way, that rules out Mikal v'Chaimer playing solitaire. If you can't stand up for Talmid Chacham, you can't play solitaire while you're working with someone. That's why some people here are dressed in orange. You can't play solitaire on your worker's time, on your employer's time.
What about self-employed people? They have to stand up in front of the Talmud Chacham?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Of course. Says the Gemara V'loi, V'tanan, we find that the people that brought the Bikurim, employees would stand up in honor of the people that were coming to bring the Bikurim. V'tanan kol bali umniyos, all craftsmen working for people, oim de mipneyem. They would stand up for the people that brought the Bikurim, b'shayolim b'shleimim, and inquire of their peace. V'oimim lehen achenu, our brothers, anshe mekayim pliny. Let's say they were coming from Shnippeshak. Townspeople, it was a group from Shnippeshak. Townspeople of Shnippeshak. Ba'achem b'shalom, come in peace. Says Rabbi Yochanan, that's different. Mipneyem oimdim, the ones who bring the Bikurim, for they you stand up. Mipnei Talmidei Chachamim ein oimdim. Why? Why? Yitzhak Shechter is here. That's so gewaldig. Yitzhak, when you're not here, I'm not happy. So the first night, I think that Leiby missed. Leiby is not here tonight. Leiby, I miss you.
They covered Hashem.
What?
It's a procession that they covered Hashem.
So says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yosef Avin Bayu Re'ei Kama Chaviva Mitzvah B'Shaita. How precious is a mitzvah in its proper time? A mitzvah in its proper time is more than Torah. For Torah, you don't stand up. But a mitzvah in its proper time, you have to know that if we have a mitzvah that can't be done by anybody else, we close the Gemara and do the mitzvah. So a mitzvah in its time, so, you know, I always say this is a big yesod. It says, Dover be'itoy matoyv. A thing in its proper time, how good it is. What does that mean? That means that if you have a moment in your life that you know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this moment. I know right now, I know I'm doing the right thing. That's a wonderful feeling. 18 minutes before Shabbos, when a woman lights the candles, she knows that she's doing what she's supposed to at that moment. Dava b'itay matay. If you like, it takes a chachavim 50 minutes after Shkia. You like the menorah, dava b'itay matay. So that's the greatness of a mitzvah b'shaita. So, says the Gemara, So Sharim Mipnei Aimdim, Mipnei Talmidei Chacham Ein Aimdim. Says Gemara, no. It's not that it's greater than Torah. Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. If we don't stand up for Torah, we shouldn't stand up for Bikurim. That's not what's going on over here. What's going on over here is something else. We're afraid if we don't give them the covet, next year they won't come. The covet is what's fueling them to make the schlep. Mimai, Dilma, Kedei Shaloitei, Nimtza, Machshilon, La'asid Lava. In order that they shouldn't be caused not to come the next year. That's why we stand up for them. Now we come to the big question in Shas. Is it ad va'ad bichlal or ad v'lo yad bichlal? It says that a hole is acceptable ad ke'isr. What about if it's the size of an isr? So Amar Rav Nachman, Kisela is kiyesa mikisela. A sela is like more than a sela. Isser is kiyesa mikisser. An isser is like more than an isser. In other words, it's ad v'lo yad b'chlal. It's up to an isser, but an isser is like more than an isser. Says the Gemara, Alma Kesavar Rav Nachman ad v'lo yad b'chlal. So now the Gemara asks some questions from Mishnayos and Kalim that we've been learning recently. Eisvei Rav Nachman, you know, the rope that is wound around the bed, that's tamei with the bed. But the extra that hangs out, that has no purpose, and that's not tamei. So chevel hayotzei min amita, rope that hangs extra out of the bed frame, ad chamisha tfachim tar. If it's up till 5 tvachim, it has no use and it's tar. If it's 5 tvachim, then if it's more, it has a use because you could tie the Korban Pesach to the bed. That's what you're supposed to do a few days before. So, my lav, chamisha kilamata. When it says ad chamisha, it's including 5 that it's tar. That would be ad ba'ad b'chlal. It says, chamisha kilamala. 5 is good. 5 would be tamei. Tajma, mehevad asar, from 5 to 10, tamei. My lav asar kilamata. You know, from 5 to 10 is useful. More than that is not useful anymore. So the Gemara says, "My lav asar kilamata," that 10 is included from 5 to 10. So it's ad b'chlal lo asar kilamala. So we're going to continue this discussion tomorrow about ad b'chlal and ad v'lo yad b'chlal. I just want to welcome in everybody. It's such a wonderful item here in the shul. We have Gedalia Engel and Chaim Kramer and Baruch Ian, Iran, Danny Vogel and Ruben Shannon. We have over here also an inmate of the week, Marshall Castle, that's straight from Otisville, Saba, Yaakov Warman, Nachum Yamansky, Irving Fishbaum, Shalom Fogel, Yitzi Muller, Michal, Mel Zachter, Yitzi Fuchs, what's his name? Eddie Chazan, Jay Siegel, Nachman Chapler, Dr. Guy, Yitzhak Schefter, Shali Zeitler, Rabbi Kranz, Berish Gesserman, Stephen Holtzman, Moshe Lehman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Avram Recepkowitz, Shimon Klein, Gabriel Epstein, Ilya Shutman. It's good to see you, Ilya Eva Arbach, Daniel Rosenberg. Great to have you, David Helfgott. Really nice to have everybody here with us. We do not yet have a sponsor for the Chumash here tomorrow night. Chukas Balak, a double parsha, no sponsor. Chaparine, 718-916-3100. rmmwsi@aol.com. Again, no sponsor yet for this week's parsha share. 718-916-3100. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful evening.
Is the ad ve'ad b'chlal a reference to Shelley?
No.
Oh, okay. Shkoyach.